Hi everyone, that's Anastasia Stoyanova today. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my experience of learning French. And not just any kind of experience of learning French, but how to learn a language without a teacher, without an instructor who guides you. So, first things first, I would like to share about my experience of learning French having a study buddy. So, first of all, what is this concept of study buddy? Study buddy is a person who is just like you. It's your peer who has the same level of language proficiency, who has the same level of language experience, and who is learning with you. So this kind of person who is on the same level. So it's not your teacher, and you are not their teacher either. You are teaching each other. You are learning from each other, and you're learning together. And what's important here in this context is that it's important to hold each other accountable, to have very similar goals regarding the language, and to be able to enjoy the language learning together. So in my experience, I've been learning French for almost 3 years on and off. There were some times where I had some breaks and I couldn't go and couldn't continue anymore. But I talked about that in my previous episode. So if you want to go back and scroll through the podcast or through the YouTube channel, please do that. I don't want to talk about that in detail, the whole timeline. But right now, I would say I do have a very solid intermediate level, and I'm moving upwards. I want to achieve upper intermediate level, and I've been doing that for some time. And I've been attending group lessons as well. And group learning has been so much fun if you have already this foundation. And in my group, there was this young lady, and she was very nice. And one time she told me oh, maybe we could, grab a drink together or grab coffees and just speak French to each other. And I said, oh, why not? We don't even need drinks. We can do it even online if you want to. And she said, wow, that's nice. Just to meet up and speak French. And I said, yeah, hell yeah. Because, I talked a little bit about my background, and for me, it's a natural thing to do because I'm an English teacher, I'm an ESL instructor, so I do have very strong communication skills and organization skills, so that's what I was kind of suggesting. I told her, I can organize the meeting, I can prepare some materials, I can choose the book for us to go over together, and she said, well, let's try. And then just throughout this conversation, during just talking to each other, I figured out that, well, we have the same goals and we are approximately at the same level. Maybe she's a little bit more fluent than myself, but she's quite nice, and she's really nice. I mean, and I told her, hey, I want to take and pass this DELF B2 exam. It's upper intermediate French exam. It's standard exam. It's not for immigration or anything, because I already immigrated to Canada and she's a Canadian citizen born here. I mean, she just needs it for her work opportunities, just to kind of expand her horizon and career prospects, so to speak. So for me, it's the same way. And we said, well, we have this very similar goal. Let's try. And I set up a meeting and I set up the whole environment for us, the documents, and I do a bit of planning. But usually the way it goes is that we chose the book. We are using Edito B2 by Didier Publishing House. And it's amazing book. I've used it before when I was learning with my tutor from France. And so this concept of study buddy has been really great for me. It's been working really well, but you gotta really find your person, right? Because you gotta find your person, you gotta organize yourselves, because to hold each other accountable, that requires this kind of skill of patience, but at the same time, self-discipline. So that's crucial. A lot of people struggle with that. So of course, this experience is not for everyone, but today I'm just sharing my thoughts, my experience, And of course, it's unique, but you can try that and see if it works or not. Now, the question is, how can you find this person? Because in my case, I was already going to this French school, to Alliance Française de Toronto. So, like in my case, I was going to this Toronto French school, basically French language school. And it was kind of easy. We were in the same group. We were already paired and we knew that we were at the same level approximately. But in your case, you can try and see. Of course, it's always better to meet offline, to meet in person first, to have this kind of bond and connection and to see if you click personality wise, because it's important to have this like enjoyable vibe during the lesson or during the practice, and to have some kind of structure. So it's not just like you're speaking, right? It should be like a lesson. So ideally, you gotta find some person with a background in education. That's the perfect scenario, the best case scenario. And you can look for this study buddy. Maybe you can write a post in a local Facebook group and just see whoever wants to learn. And, you can always try, you can always change partners. It's life, right? You can change your study buddy partners. And I think you just give it a try and see if it works or not for you. What else is important? It's important to consider this fact that you already have to have some foundation in the language. So you cannot learn the language from scratch or from zero and look for a study buddy. In this case, you do need a professional French tutor. In this case, maybe you're learning English as you are listening to this, or maybe you're listening just out of curiosity. So anyway, doesn't matter what you're learning, but if you're building the foundation, it's important to use the tips and the guidance of a professional. But then later, if you are at an intermediate level, or you're, like in my case, I'm trying to achieve B2 level. So that's important, just to consider this factor, that it's not going to work if you're just a beginner. It's more when you're intermediate or you're advancing higher than intermediate. Then, of course, for some people, it might be not so convenient to do this online, right? But our world is becoming more and more digitalized and computerized, and like everything's online, everything's via Zoom. So that's what we are doing, despite the fact that we live roughly in the same area. Maybe you can try and go in person. Maybe you can attend Toronto Public Library and see if you can find anyone there who is interested in learning or teaching somehow, right? Like coaching maybe. Because having a study buddy, it means that you don't have to pay. The only thing you're paying, metaphorically speaking, you're paying your time, right? And it's more for enjoyment. Also, I don't think that this format is going to work if you are learning the language intensively. Let's say if you have a French exam and you have the very strict, stringent deadline for this exam, right? Or for the English language. In this case, if you do have like a CELPIP or IELTS exam, I would highly recommend hiring a tutor, professional. But study buddy, if you're just enjoying the language, if you do have plenty of time, and if you feel like you just want to experiment, so that kind of format and that kind of experiment might work wonders for you, okay? And also, you gotta be prepared that you gonna need to be vulnerable and share everything also to make this learning experience more beneficial. I want to emphasize that there's this concept of lifelong learning, like you learn new things all your life. Despite the fact that I am a professional English tutor and ESL instructor, I do enjoy learning new languages, and I don't think I would be able to ever stop. Like right now, I'm perfecting my French. In the future, I'd like to get really serious about my Spanish, and I already started learning Spanish also. So, but just, it's not even for career prospects, but this Spanish is more for fun, more for, I feel like it's my language, like it reflects my personality. Though I'm not like a Latino yet, but yeah, I'm Slavic. I have Slavic roots, but I do think that Spanish would just reflect my personality a lot better. When they say if you speak a new language, you acquire a new personality, right? Like, because every language, I feel like I sound different in Russian, I sound different in Ukrainian, In English, I sound completely different, right? In French, it's like I'm this kind of different person, and I can wear these different hats and just, just it's a very cool experience. And with a study buddy, you gotta be open about things, but at the same time, like I said, when we do this session, I do plan everything beforehand, but we always discuss, and I appreciate the input of my study buddy, this girl. I always ask her, what does she want to do for the next time? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Yeah, and we are using Edito B2 and Delph B2 books. So we always consult Dictionary Larousse, Dico Larousse, and a word reference. And whenever I hear her make mistake, I fix her, and we consult Google Translate, dictionary, and AI together. She is also fixing my mistakes or helping me say something. We're looking up synonyms together, synonyms like the words with a similar meaning. So it's actually so much fun, and I highly recommend this kind of format of having a study partner or study buddy, and just finding your person. And you don't really have to be friends, honestly. We're not close friends or anything. It's just that we share this similar interest and this passion to the French language. So that's what's interesting. That's what counts. And ideally, your study buddy should be around the same age, but it's not a requirement, right? Depends what you want to discuss. My study buddy is not a lot younger, but still, she is younger than myself. I don't mind. I feel comfortable. As long as you're feeling comfortable around them, it's fine. So, what do you think about this format? Have you ever tried this? Any thoughts? Maybe you have your own experience of having a study buddy. If you're watching a video version of this, please write your comments on my YouTube channel just below this video. If you're listening to this on Spotify or any other platform, thank you so much for doing that. Please rate my podcast, write something nice. And I want to continue talking more about both personal things and not so personal, like talking about Canada English. Next time, I want to talk about how AI can really help us, can benefit us when it comes to learning a language. I will also share my experience of taking and passing IELTS General successfully and how I teach and help people with IELTS General. So I hope that you're going to benefit from that. And there are many, many more cool ideas in store. So please stay tuned. And I'm going to see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye. Salut.